Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well, and brace for impact on this one. Because, yeah, this one, it's not going to be pretty. I think we all know that going in, and I think a vast majority of us would probably agree. The PFF rankings for defensive lines came out a couple days ago, and the Seahawks did not fare well, which it's not a surprise. Not much of a surprise for, I think, even the most hardcore of fans of this team. Now, real quick, going into this list, understand that for 3-4 teams, which the Seahawks are currently one of, they are evaluating the defensive line and the edge rushers as a group. So for the Seahawks, you have your defensive line, which is Draymond Jones, Cam Young, and Mike Morris, or whoever you want to say ends up starting by the start of the season, and then also Nwosu and Mafe and Hall, etc., etc. So this is not just the guys literally on the defensive line. This is also the edge rushers, which is fair because for the 4-3 teams, then it would just be kind of a complete washout for every single 4-3 team would rank first, and then every 3-4 team. It would be really hard to do if you didn't also include the edge rushers. I'll put it that way. So anyway, start going through the list here. Of course, the Eagles are number one. That was kind of a no-brainer. The Niners behind them. Washington, even without Chase Young, they're elite. Dolphins, Steelers, Browns, and then you keep going and you keep going. You're not there yet. You got to keep going. Yeah, this is the state of the Seahawks defensive line. Yeah, you had to go all the way down to 30. Had to go all the way down to number 30 on the list to get to the Seattle Seahawks. And this one, it's pretty close at least, right? Like, we're down here somewhere. The defensive line itself, when you take a look at that, first of all, the thing to understand is that Draymond Jones, PFF does not think much of Draymond Jones. They gave him a very bad score last year. They don't really like Draymond Jones that much, it seems like. So that is a consideration here. Now, I don't think that Draymond Jones is anywhere near as bad a player as PFF thinks that he is. I think they graded him out at like 52 last year, something like that. I don't think there's any way he's going to be that bad or that he is that bad of a player, but PFF, bottom line, doesn't like him that much. They think he's weak against the run. And that is kind of the main saving grace of the actual defensive line on this team. Therefore, we have this. Because we've got a rookie as of right now probably starting at nose tackle. We've got maybe a rookie starting at the other defensive end spot. We've got UDFAs who might be competing for snaps on the defensive line. It's not great. It's really not great. Now, if you bring the edge group in, it does get better. You've got Nwosu, who played really well last year, was one of the best players on the team. Not a Pro Bowler, but close. He was maybe not in the second tier of edge defenders, but he was probably on that third tier. Not guys who make the Pro Bowl, but guys who are really, really all around solid. You got about 10 sacks and good run defense from the guy. So that's got to be good. But other than that, we got question marks. Like, I think Mafe is going to take a big step forward. That just makes all the sense in the world. It would be weird if he didn't. All signs are pointing towards a big year for Boye Mafe, or at least a breakout year. But he's got to prove it. Derek Hall, I don't know what he's going to do as a rookie. I'm fine with the player. I don't have a big problem with Derek Hall as a player for the long term, but I don't know what we're going to get from him as a rookie. So that remains to be seen. And then you've got guys like Alton Robinson, who hasn't been on a football field in what are we coming up on now? Like 20 months. And you've got Tyreek Smith, who I never had much faith in. So you bring in the edge room, and you've at least got some hope, right? But it's still not a great crop of edge players. It could be, and hopefully it will be, but it could be about a year before we actually get to that point. So you put everything together. 30th is probably pretty close to accurate. I think that if you were just looking at our defensive line, we might be 32nd. We have one blue chipper, and it just so happens to be a player that PFF is very pessimistic on. So if you're including the edge group, I think we might be around like 28, 29, maybe 27, but it's still right near the bottom. So I can't say too much about this one, except I'm afraid PFF kind of has the heartbeat here. So not much to say about this other than hopefully next offseason it gets better. Hopefully we get some happy surprises in the form of a Mike Morris breakout year, or like I said, a Derek Hall surprisingly good rookie year, or Mafe breaking out like we've talked about before. Hopefully these things happen, but we kind of need to see them. In these cases, these are not pure blue chippers. These are things that we need to see happen first. I could see this defensive line / edge crop maybe getting to a point where they're like a little below average, but we got to see it this year first. So that's really all I can say about this ranking. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts about it. I don't think there will be any huge disagreements here. I do think that there is a little bit of a ceiling beyond this for sure. And by the end of the year, we'll probably be a little higher than this, but I don't think it'll be by all that much. However, when you take a look at what PFF did collectively throughout all their rankings lists this season, we were 12th on the list of running backs. We were 5th in pass catchers, which was mostly receivers and tight ends. We were 30th in offensive line, 30th in defensive line, 7th in linebacker, which I still don't really understand how they got to that conclusion, and 17th in the defensive back secondary. So you put that all together, that's actually a recipe for a below average team, I think. So if the Seahawks do have another season where they're at the very least a little above average or average, which is about what they were last year, then I guess you can say we're exceeding the expectations that PFF is putting in front of us. Bottom line is, when you take a look at these ranking lists, because remember, PFF also ranked every quarterback in the NFL, and Geno Smith ranked 12th. So basically an above average to good quarterback, but not a great quarterback, not an elite quarterback, a good quarterback. So it's not like Geno Smith is going to carry the team to a Super Bowl despite having a substandard roster. No, he's just kind of along for the ride. He's a good quarterback, but ultimately he is very much dependent on what is around him, very much dependent on what is going on surrounding him in terms of pass catchers, offensive line, running backs, play calling, etc., etc. So if this team lives up to my, and I think most Seahawks fans' expectations, and gets to the point where they are, at the very least, a decent team that wins 9 or more games this year, then we've proven PFF wrong yet again. So that's what it's going to take, and those are the stakes. A lot of you guys, I see it in my comments, believe me, I read the comments, you don't like PFF that much, and these rankings are really not going to give you much reason to like them much more. So let me know what you think about all that, I guess, at the end of the day. I know these are just things we do in the off season. And again, I think PFF is evaluating something that is less interesting. I think, like I said, they're kind of looking at things like what they were at the end of the season last year rather than trying to project where they're going to be by the end of the year. And I think that's just a little bit boring, but that's their choice. And hey, PFF, they're a successful business, I think, so we can't really say they're doing anything terribly wrong. All right, so that's it for the PFF ranking list. Seahawks did not come out too well in any of these, but got to prove them wrong one more year. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. New month tomorrow.